classify myself as a jazz artist or as a hip hop artist or anything like that. I'm just a musician who really loves good music, and I'm on a quest to create good music. Elevate the quest. Basically, it's a concept. I mean, it's the name of my band that I play with, but it's more of a movement than anything else. And the concept is just to always be looking forward to that next level, kind of searching and guiding yourself and preparing your journey to go somewhere else, you know, in an elevated place. So elevate the quest is just, you know, like kind of like a mission statement, just reminding myself and the cats that I play with to always reach for a higher level. Be it if you're elevating your quest as a musician, you know, if you're elevating your quest as a person, you know, or in your personal life, your personal journey, your spirituality, you know, just elevation is definitely the key point of everything that we do. So we're always trying to improve, always trying to get better, always trying to elevate ourselves. Eric Thomas, he's just a cat on the scene trying to make a contribution to the genre of music. To me, I feel the saxophone best expresses what it is I'm trying to convey as a musician. I dig all instruments, you know, and I even play a couple of different instruments myself. You know, I play guitar a little bit, I play keys a little bit. Definitely helps me to compose or whatnot, but I feel like with the sounds that I'm hearing and the sounds that I try to express, I think the saxophone best does it for me. And I feel the cool thing about the saxophone, even aside from the 23 keys, there's a whole different array of sounds and notes and things you can play that are outside of that box. And I really love that about the saxophone. That gravitated me to playing the saxophone was actually the sound of it. Like when I was really young, I initially wanted to play the trumpet, just because I thought the trumpet was a really cool instrument, and I saw a poster of a trumpet laying on the piano, so to me that just like said jazz. That was just the definition of jazz for me. So, but it was just something about the sound. Like when I first picked up the saxophone and played it, the sound itself spoke to me. You know, aside from the fact that it was the only instrument that I actually could get a sound out of. But that just kind of took me on that journey. The best way, if I had to jump inside of a box for a brief second to make some type of category for what I do, I would say it would be jazz fusion. But not to be mistaken for, you know, just that out-of-the-box kind of music. Because a lot of times when cats say, yo, I'm a jazz fusion player, they think about this avant-garde, crazy, space-age kind of music. But it's not that at all, actually. When I say jazz fusion, I mean that I pull from various walks of life and various influences to create a music, but it's based in jazz. And that's where the fusion comes from. I was into music at a really young age, just from being a listener of music. And just hearing different things kind of wanted me to be a part of what was going on. So when I first started my musical journey, I was really big into hip hop. So before jazz, I was a lyricist. So I found myself listening to, you know, a lot of cats at the time that were doing really conscious things with hip hop. It wasn't until I got to Atlanta that I jumped into jazz and found out through jazz and improv you could express yourself the same way. So I was listening to a John Coltrane cut, Love Supreme, and I was just really captivated by how freely he was speaking through his instrument. And it was at that moment that I really got sprung into jazz. And I found that parallel between jazz and hip hop, improv and freestyle. So it kind of just took off from there. When it comes to musical influences, I have a ton, and they're from various genres of music. Like definitely Tribe Called Quest and the Far Side. Like, listening to those albums like got me through middle school and elementary school, just because I felt I could relate to a lot of the things that we're speaking of. Common was a really big influence for me. Diggable Planets, and then when I really got into jazz, you know, I love Coltrane, I love Joe Henderson, I love Sonny Rollins, I love Sonny Stitt, but probably my biggest musical innovator from the jazz scene is this cat by the name of Dexter Gordon. I just love his sound, I love his tone, I love what he says when he's playing. Like, you know, he doesn't have to be extremely flashy because his sound says it all. Like, this cat can get on an album and play one note the whole album and it will say a lot. It will speak volumes, you know? And he's like king of the ballads. Like, I'm a real fan of traditional ballads when they're played in jazz, because it's just a naked space, and it leaves a lot to the instrumentalist to communicate. You know, you don't have the speed or the tempo of the song or all the various instrumentation to kind of add to it. It's like I'm a saxophone and I'm speaking, and this is what I'm saying. I'm really dedicated to trying to bring this idea of instrumentalists back to the forefront of live music. You know, a lot of times, you know, we go out and we'll see these jazz bands or we see these musical bands or whatever, and it's like they gotta have a vocalist, or, you know, even with mainstream stuff, like you're rapping or you're singing. Like, so the idea with society now is that music has to have some main frontline person and somebody singing words or something. And I'm just saying, like, I'm really dedicated to the idea of music and instrumentalists coming back to the forefront of live music.